So it's a busy day around here today. We are dog sitting. As you can see, the husky is Faker. I don't know how he got that name, but that's his name. The goofy little blue cattle dog there is mine. That's Chloe. And this is Lily, sweet Lily, the yellow lab. And they are full of energy, and hopefully they're going to burn all that off today as they're running around the yard. So I'm going to do some relic waxing for a friend of mine. She's got a big 32-pound Revolutionary War solid shot cannonball. I have it in the wax now, actually. Oh, look, someone's digging holes. Was it you? Anywho, I'm gonna go check on the temperature of this wax right now. Is it bubbling yet? Not yet. Getting close. Okay, so I think what I'm gonna do is a wrap up of my 2016 relic finds. I probably won't show everything, but we'll do the highlights anyway. We'll do that inside because it's chilly out here. One of the very first relics I found this year, I found in January. It's this beautiful Liberty $10 gold coin, 1849. And it's in almost perfect condition. I mean, this thing is almost flawless. Front and back. This is the first and only gold coin I've ever found. You'd probably call this a once-in-a-lifetime find, I would think. In March, I did a trip to Culpeper, Virginia, to the Brandy Station area to hunt the winter camps there. I was down there for a week, and I found a whole lot of bullets and some buttons and eating utensils and all sorts of stuff like that. But I didn't want to lay all that stuff out, so I thought I'd just show you the highlights. One of my favorite finds from that trip is this food bottle. This came out of a trash pit in those winter camps. I found 2 trash pits there. It's the first time I'd ever done any trash pit digging. I'm addicted to it now. I want to do it all the time, but I just can't always get down there and do it. I know this doesn't look like much. It's just a beef bone, but this is a soldier's beef bone from the Civil War. It came out of a pit with a bunch of ash, broken, a bottle similar to this one that was broken in pieces, a couple of bullets, and a spoon, a little pewter spoon, I think maybe some buttons and that sort of thing. But isn't that really cool? That's a soldier's meal, a Civil War soldier's meal from the 1860s. And it's still intact. There was a whole lot of bones in there, smaller pieces, bigger pieces, and I just kept this one because it was a nice little representative example. I put the rest back in the pit when I close it up. This is a Confederate infantry button. They call this one a script I, for obvious reasons. This would have been imported from England for use by the Confederacy. Still has the shank intact on the back. I can't quite read the back mark. But it's only the second one of these I've ever found. Another Confederate infantry button. This one's called a block eye. And this one had a tin back, which has rusted away to nothing. So there's no way to ever get a back mark on it if it even never had one. But it still displays nicely. The front is in very good shape and has a nice smooth patina on it from that red soil down there. And this is a Schenkel fuse. Came from the Battle of Brandy Station. It would have come out of an exploded Yankee shell. It's a combination fuse. It had a percussion system in it and also a time system. The artillerist could dial the time in for how long he wanted the shell to fly before it exploded. Moving along. This is one of my earlier summer finds. I find a lot of these. This is a railroad link. This would have been used along with 2 pins to link 2 railroad cars together. This isn't an extraordinary find in and of itself, but if you look closely right here, it almost looks like the letters B and O are stamped in it. And that would be, I hope, representative of the B&O Railroad. And I found this in a creek just below a railroad bridge that would have been the B&O Railroad during the Civil War. Now, I don't know if they stamped any of these. I mean, it sure does look like it is, but I can't really find any information on this. And I asked a couple people, and they didn't know. So I don't know. Maybe one of you guys can tell me, one of you railroad enthusiasts, did B&O stamp their railroad links? Sure does look like it says B&O, huh? Neato. Let's see, what else we have here. Do you know what this is? This is the tip of a ferryman's pole. The ferryman had a pole that he used to push the ferry boat across the river. And on the tip of that pole, he would have had this long iron piece, I guess to protect the wood from being splintered on the rocky bottom. That was an early spring find in the water this year, along with this intact Burnside cartridge. Another first for me. I've never found an intact one. I find plenty of the casings and I find the bullets, but I never find complete cartridges. This is a first for me. Smashed, but it's intact. It's a 19th century lock. Which is found very close to this really cool item. This is a wax seal for the Adams Express Company. I don't know if you can read that. It's backwards. It's a mirror image. But these were used to seal envelopes. Melted wax would be poured on the envelope, and this was pressed into the wax to seal it shut and to put their mark on it. This is an Enfield saber bayonet. From what I understand, it would have been used with a 2-band Enfield. You can see where it attached to the rifle. That went over the muzzle, and there was a locking system on the underside, on the side of the muzzle, where this piece would lock in and hold it in place. And that is the remnants of a leather handle. It actually had a leather handle, and there's a little bit of it left on there. I think that's pretty cool. Another first for me. Very near where that bayonet came from on the same day, I dug this beautiful U.S. bell plate. All 3 hooks are intact, and it looks like the soldier started to carve something in the bag. I don't know if it's a crucifix or not. It's very faint. And from that same creek, one down a few miles, I found all of these homemade sinkers. And many of these, if not most or all, were made from Civil War mini balls, 3-ringers, as you can see. The soldier shaped it into this point, I guess, to help keep it from getting snagged when he pulled his line in. Drill a small hole in the end, and voila, you have a sinker. Found a lot of these in this creek this year. Try to give you a close-up of all of them. It's interesting the different styles. Now this one's obviously not made from a bullet. I'm not sure what that is. Some sort of lead stock. Very no nonsense one here. Smash it down, drill a hole. Now it's possible that these weren't made from bullets. It's kind of hard to tell when they're shaped that way. Especially these big ones here. I'm pretty sure that's not from a bullet. It's awfully big, so that was probably from just some bar stock that they had. And it may be also be civilian. It's almost impossible to tell how old that is. The bullets are obvious, though. This is more from the same creek. More bullet sinkers. And other homemade sinkers. And I found 3 plates in this location on the same day. This is a belt plate. You can see the hooks are intact on the back. It has the maker's mark. The belt plate, a cartridge box plate, which is this, and the breastplate came from an area about 10 or 15 feet in diameter. It was a very small area. It was deep water, and there was hard bedrock on the bottom, and these things were sort of lodged in the crevices in the bedrock. And there's a layer of mud that made it really hard to recover them. I believe these all came from the same soldier, because the box plate, belt plate, and breastplate were together with this socket bayonet. Again, all in that same 10 or 15 foot area of the creek. It was really amazing. It was an amazing day. All these dropped bullets came from that area too. There's some Williams cleaners and some mini balls, and then the sinkers came from an area maybe about 30 or 40 feet upriver from where all this other stuff came from. It's truly an amazing day for me. In that same general area, I dug this, another first for me. It was a summer of firsts. Now this is a picket pin. This pin would have been hammered into the ground, and this piece swivel is no longer swiveled. It's fused pretty much from rust. But the cavalrymen were issued these for tying out their horses while at rest. On the same day, in the same general area, I found this musket barrel with what's left of a bayonet attached to the end. It had been intentionally pinched off and broken. So the soldiers probably took all the good parts off of it and destroyed it so the enemy couldn't use what was left. And another bayonet from the same area. And this one's curious to me. It's obviously broken, but it looks like, for some reason, the soldier jammed this piece of ramrod into the side of the socket of the bayonet. I don't know why he would have done that, but I'm pretty sure that's a ramrod broken off, obviously. If you look, it's probably hard to tell in the video, but there is a swell right here. The ramrod gets a little wider, or this piece gets a little wider, and that's typical of a Civil War ramrod. Very strange. I left it in there because I thought it was pretty cool. I didn't take the rocks and gravel out of there either. I just waxed it as it was. This is a musket barrel, and I thought it was going to be a Civil War musket barrel, and I guess it was probably used in the Civil War because of where I found it, but it's actually a flintlock musket, and it is, I believe, a Springfield model 1816. It's a 69 caliber smoothbore. You can see there's still, I can get the camera around here at the right angle, you can see there's still some wood remaining from the stock. Not much. This is the front sight, made of brass, and I believe you can see, well, maybe not, there's a lug, there it is right there. There's a lug for the socket bayonet that would have been attached. I'll show you the breech end. This is what's left of the sling. I should say the sling swivel. Barrel band. You'll notice there's no nipple for a percussion cap back here. So I'm sure that is a flintlock. Found in a location where there was a Confederate retreat that crossed the creek, so I don't know if a Confederate soldier was equipped with this thing. I can't think of any other reason why a military musket like this would be in that location. So some poor Confederate was equipped with a very old, outdated weapon. I found 2 shells this summer. Not till the end of the summer. I started in April, I believe, this year in the water, in the wetsuit. It was freezing cold, and I hunted weekly, at least 1 or 2 days a week, mainly looking for artillery, and I just did not find much. But in August, I hit a spot and ended up finding a couple of shells. These are both Confederate reed shells, and they're fired. If you look closely at the sabot, you'll see the rifling marks from the gun. And this one, the fuse adapter, which is copper, took the brunt of the impact and is mostly gone. These shells have both been disarmed by flushing through this fuse hole with high pressure water, so there's no gunpowder in there, so these are perfectly safe, non-explosive. They've been run through electrolysis to remove the rust and scale, and they went through a hot wax process for preservation. This one has a little bit better fuse adapter. Same rifling marks on the sabot. Another Schenkel fuse. This one came out of a creek. It's in a little bit better shape. You can actually see the numbers on this one. For some reason, pewter objects seem to, pewter or zinc, I'm not sure, maybe it's zinc, but this material seems to hold up pretty well in the creek, in the water, but on land they really sort of fall apart and flake. That's what this one is doing. If I handle it too much, little bits fall off of it, so I should probably stop doing that. I always find axe heads, and I have probably 4 or 5 sitting downstairs still waiting for electrolysis. But I do have a couple that are finished. I thought I'd put them on the table as well. I'm not even really sure how old these are. Now this one, I didn't find this year, but I wanted to put in the video because I just wanted to show you how tiny it is. I'm fascinated by this little axe head, hatchet head, I guess you'd call it. What purpose would this serve? You guys know? There it is next to a regular size axe head. What could that be used for? I would love to know. Here are a couple telegraph insulators. In green glass. See the bubbles in them. I'm not quite sure how old they are. Definitely 19th century. This one actually has a couple of patent dates on it, but they're so faint it's just almost impossible to read them. There we go. It's got 2 patent dates, 1865 on top, and the bottom date is I believe that's 70. It actually has the month and day as well, but I can't. Let's see if we can read that. Can't read the top one. The bottom one is, the day is the 25th, but I can't tell what month it is. But they're pretty cool. I like these things. Usually find 1 or 2 of these in the creeks every summer. And one of the last things I found of note this year is this little musket tool. And I think that's really cool. This was a multi-purpose tool issued with infantrymen so they could break their musket down and clean it. This little wrench section would have been used on the nipple to take the nipple out of the gun. And I believe this is actually two pieces here that would have fanned out. And was probably used as a screwdriver. Pretty cool, huh? I think that about wraps it up. Oh, there's one more thing here. And I would love some information on this if you guys know. This is a butt plate from a rifle. I found this in Tennessee, near where a very old road used to be. I found it with a lot of horseshoes and mule shoes and other things like that. I've been told several things, but it looks like it's from a Remington revolving rifle. Looking at photos on the internet, but I've been told a few other things. I would love to know what it really is. It's made of brass. It's in beautiful condition. And well, if you know, post it in the comments. Thanks for sticking around through all that. I hope it was at least somewhat interesting to you and it wasn't too boring. So hopefully in the next video we'll get back out in the field and find some relics. See you next time. A tired dog is a good dog.